What?
What? I don't know.
What
I
did you
don't
say?
want bananas on that anymore.
I thought you said that was inappropriate.
Only if you have strawberries and cream.
All right, we're now. Welcome back. Where we left off, our trio of adventurers, led by Corvus, Baron of the Wormhaven Estate here in Deepwell, were attempting to infiltrate the Mortal Hand, find the lair of Nathaniel Hawthorne, the Baron of the Hand, and the leader of the Mortal Hand. Where we are now, the players have found one of the safe houses that we're in the process of oh my god, what's the word? Um, Getting all their shit out and trying to run like hell as Corvus, along with the rest of the Platinum Bastion, the military force that is behind the Baron of the Worm, are slowly encroaching upon their space. Corvus, Eden, and Perrin jump on a trio and then a foursome of these Mortal Hand minions, defeating them rather quickly before questioning them and then finding a secret vault hidden behind a bookshelf. There, they looked through, found scores of artifacts and paintings and writings and maps, but in particular, a package covered in a tarp. And as they drew nearer, it began to growl and shift and move slightly. And that's where we left off. The three of you in the midst of unveiling this package.
Well, I'm sick and tired of hiding things from my own eyes, and Perrin will just grab the sheet and just whoosh, just yank that right off.
Eden.
Out of fear, Eden will fidget with their finger.
Okay.
GM.
All right. Cool. As you do that, you pull the tarp back, and you see a box that's roughly, it's about 10-ish feet wide, about 6 or 7 feet long, and then about another about 6 or 7 feet high. It's a rather big box, made out of wood, nails kind of reinforced. You can see all around the outside two like tight iron bands that keep whatever's inside compacted. At the top, you can see a series of locks. There are very slight gaps in the wooden panels there that one could peek through. But as a whole, this box is relatively sealed up tight, from what you can tell. Or crate, I guess this would be. It wouldn't be a
Oh,
box.
well, come on. This is just poor. If there's a creature in here, this is poor transportation because they're going to cause this thing to not breathe proper. I'm going to hold on one second. I'm going to look into
It
my
should just
stuff.
be noted that Eden's eyes are both red at the moment.
Mm-hmm,
Just like
mm-hmm.
all red, iris
No,
red.
like
'Cause
the irises, so like they've been one blue and one red. They just Eden fidgets with their hand for a second and they're both red right now.
I'm going to search the room and try to find like a crowbar or something to try and open this thing.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Sure, why not? Oh, hot diggity dying. Investigation is 21.
24, yeah. I mean, relatively easy. There's enough crates and barrels and things like that they would need a crowbar to get open. You find one.
Would you say though that there are enough crates and barrels to fill like a department store?
Either a department store or like maybe like a nice restaurant. Yeah.
Okay.
Perrin,
So
do
I'm
you want
gonna.
help?
Well, I mean, and like I'm just gonna Do I find a
Yeah,
crowbar?
you find a crowbar. Like
Yeah.
a crowbar, there's probably one or two laying around. It's not
Right.
something that
I scoop one up and I just kind of look at her and I go, "Hey, wait, give me a minute. Now, let me at least try it before I turn around and tell you that I'm a scrawny bastard." And so I'm just gonna like wedge it between the lid and the wall of the crate, and I'm just going to effectively jump up in the air and then pull it back down.
do it. Yep. Go ahead and give me strength or athletics with advantage.
With advantage.
Using physics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, those
That's a 17.
17. Um, are you going to like try to pry the lid open?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you jump up, you like shove the crowbar into the spot and like using that momentum to just crank down. You
Yeah.
hear a bunch of nails kind of pop as the wood separates,
Yeah.
the lid separates. Now, the one thing that I will say is that it gives, and there's probably about a 2 inch kind of barrier
Yeah.
there before the gap there before the locks that are kind of on the top and then attached to like the side panel um, run out of movement. So you have probably about that much leeway
Pulling
with the
it
legs
down
in
and
place.
holding it open as like as I'm holding it down, like grabbing onto this thing and not letting go. Could somebody look inside this thing and see what the hell is growling in there? And then I'll let go, I promise.
Okay. Eden's just gonna walk up and peer about this far away. We're keeping a foot's distance, and we're peeking in.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Oh, great. That's a 3.
As you
Because I'm a
begin
little
to,
blinded right now.
between the like jolt and the popping and noise of the lid being maneuvered, the rush of the little bit of firelight and or like the candlelight coming into this crate, whatever's inside of it starts moving and like kind of jostles the crate back and forth. Whatever's inside is definitely taking up the majority of the physical like kind of floor space of this crate. The one thing with a 3, what I will give you is you see a jostle of what looks to be either feathers or some kind of fur.
Okay. Does it smell like something Eden has smelled before?
Nature check.
Perrin just holding on to the crowbar, the little legs just like dangling in the air.
Okay. Okay. That's a 17.
Um, hmm. Do me a favor, roll a D100 with advantage.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you would have experienced this before. I have a feeling you have, but
Are we going high or low?
51 or higher.
Okay. In which case, that is a 69.
So,
Nice.
yep, perfect.
That's nice.
Yep. With a 69 and a 17, there are two things that come to mind given the size of the crate and the movement patterns of whatever's in here and the fact that the fur feathers. You think it's either a griffin, like a smaller griffin, or an owl bear.
How does Eden feel about either of these things?
I don't know. You tell me.
As Corvus will eventually come over to try and help with the leverage and peer in as well.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a perception check. How close to the gap are you getting?
Oh, I'm peering in. I'm
Like
trying
straight
actually.
up like looking
Yeah.
like kid at the zoo, like pressing your face up against the glass.
Oh, please let it be an owlbear.
Absolutely. That's a 13 though.
A 13. You see a rush of these very very fine feathers, not like big
Mhm.
feathery plumage of a bird, but like like tiny tufts, almost hair-like. Go ahead and make a nature check for me. The coloration of it is like a dullish gray, like a dull gray mixed with like a dark blue, like
It's a
like that, like gray
19.
blue coloration. With a 19, you would be able to, mostly because as you are kind of lifting yourself up and peering in, it's moving its head towards you in that moment. Identify this as an owlbear. And it's going to try to kind of poke out at you with its beak, instinctively and protectively. Does a it's a natural 19 on the die.
Yeah, it'll hit.
For a total that's a +7, so that's a 26. And that was with disadvantage too. Let's see. That's you're gonna take. I'll say half because there's only an inch. So instead of taking 11 damage, you'll take 5 damage. As
Okay.
Okay.
the beak pierces through momentarily and kind of just nips you on like the nose and like bit of the cheek, before it recoils and you kind of drop back and down.
I'm going to. Do I?
What the-
I identify owlbears. Owlbears are like herbivores type things. Are they like mostly?
Ooh,
It depends. I'm
with
asking if I know.
with a what,
I'm asking
what
what Corvus
you roll,
knows.
You rolled a 17 for that, yeah.
Yeah, because owlbears are monstrous, are like weird
Yeah.
creatures. I don't know if they're common enough for like Corvus to know, and so Corvus is like, I don't eat meat usually, so
I would say that you would know that, like they're part owl and part bear, both of which are kind of like apex predators. But like bears are also omnivores, so it's like it probably a 50-50 shot that they're omnivores.
would I know that they prefer like the essence of, so they're more like, raw meat style, like that kind of thing. Hunt,
Oh yeah,
eat.
yeah. They hunt, eat, kill. Like if you were to die right in front of them, they'd probably just start munching.
Very cool. Okay, cool. I'm going to once again try to peer through. I want to get an understanding on its condition. I want to know, like, does it look hurt, injured, or is it just look in distress?
Give me a medicine check.
That's a natural 20 for 25.
With a 25, it looks a bit emaciated, starved. It probably has been in this crate for at least a handful of days, long enough for it to, be very minimally fed and then shrink in size. You can see that there is tons and tons of this like fur-like plumage that is just kind of like coming off of it in like a dog shedding its coat. So there are parts of it where it's like rubbed up against the crate so much, especially kind of closer to where the shoulders are, that they've kind of been rubbed to the skin itself. But in terms of health, other than that, looks fine. Does not look like it's been beaten. Does not look like it's been hurt or maimed in any sort of way. Just put into a tight container and then kind of left there.
And to confirm, I don't see like anything that looks like food of any kind that maybe the workers had, maybe even.
Not that you see. No, there's a lot of like it's like if you put a husky in a box and then it got really hot and just started.
Okay, and so I see
Just
no way to feed it.
Fur plumage everywhere. The
What-
ground is.
What's in there?
Is it which one? What is it? Is it the bear thing or the lion one?
We have an owl bear,
Oh,
unfed,
is it
and
really?
it is hungry and perhaps distressed from this. As like,
Okay, then Eden will drop down and will throw her hands on the ground. And I'm a smart person who prepped Goodberry for once in their fucking life. And I will, like, this little rosebush will like grow really rapidly, and this bud will burst open, and there's just like a handful of berries, and Eden just like,
Are you to Corvus?
Yo,
So Corvus
if you
will take a
lose a
few.
finger, I'll feel better.
So we'll take like a few of them, like maybe because it's like 10 of them, right?
I believe so.
Corvus is only gonna take like 5 just to make sure, and we'll take one and just drop it. Like we'll hold it into the space, and once I notice that it's coming close, I will drop it so that it knows I'm giving it something, and it'll acknowledge and drop.
Make a animal handling check.
With advantage because Eden is there.
It's a 15.
A 15. All right, let me see.
Not that I'm opposed to Jay's character losing a finger. I'm just saying.
You watch as it gets it at this point kind of sits back on its haunches and like is like staring up at you, not in like a half in like a what is this, the other half in like a like I already bit it once, why is it coming back? And then it sees your hand emerge or like come into the space, and it starts to, the neck cranes up and it begins to like sit up a little bit higher and reach out towards your hand. You drop it, and as you drop it, the beak reaches out, extends, snatches it up, and almost in one gulp, it's gone. The eyes of the owlbear, they don't like light up, but you can tell there's like a more there's a calming, a relaxation, as the good berry, which one of them is enough to sustain a person for an entire day, begins to do its work. Now this is an owlbear. It's potentially larger than the 3 of you combined, but so far one good berry seems to already be getting this creature on the up and up.
Okay, I'm gonna.
What?
Do you want to keep feeding this thing, or do you want
Just
to?
one more. And we'll take another berry, and this time we'll hold it into the space, and this time we'll give it the opportunity to take it from my hand.
Okay, and give me one more animal handling check.
Here's the natural one. I know it. 19.
19. I was going to say you needed higher than your first one. But as you reach, or as you extend your hand into the space, it now stands up almost at its full height, like almost standing up on its hind legs a little to reach up and take it from you. Its face coming closer to the opening that Perrin is creating in the crate. And extends, takes the good berry. You do take 2 points of damage as the beak compresses around your fingers, right? It's like when you're like telling your dog like take it nice, and then it just like numbs on your whole finger.
Yep. And I choose not to flinch. I choose to like give it the comfort in letting it happen.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Fuck it, you're a monk. You can do dumb monk shit.
Just
and it
calm mind.
Again, this kind of calmness to it, due to the magic of Good Bear and the fact that it is magical healing. You watch as parts of the shoulders are already starting to sprout tiny puffs and plumes of this kind of down feather fur.
Once that has happened, I do want to try and open it more to give exposure. I want this creature to get a little freedom in its space.
You're gonna have to get the locks, and he just like pulls the crowbar out and drops down to the ground. I can crack this thing no problem now that I've got it. You just have to get these locks taken off.
Okay. I want this creature to be free, but let me be very honest, is it a good idea? And I can't believe I'm the one saying this with the 2 of you here, but is it a good idea to release an owlbear in the middle of your city?
It's not really in the
Corvus
middle
is
of the
going
city.
to
It's like
get rid of the locks.
It's like the basement of the city.
If he goes to do the lock, that Eden's going to like grab Corvus by like the forearm. This isn't safe. Not for the beast or the people. And believe me, I care a lot more about the beast than most of the people.
I would like to give it a bit of berth to move, and
I agree, but if it gets too loose in here and goes out there, it will die.
do you have
Yeah,
an alternative?
We take
so
it
we just
into
keep it with
here.
us.
No, we'll let it go back where it wants to go. It's not going to be happy. It's...
Well, no, no, no. Sorry, you're not hearing my whole thing in the few words that I was saying. No, we take it with us so that nobody bothers it out there. And then when we're done doing what we need to do here, we escort it where it needs to go. I mean, I'm all for, domesticating, very small animals, but things like this are dangerous. As much as I would love a giant, fierce, ferocious pet like this, I think it's best reserved for setting it
Heron,
free.
what's domesticate?
Oh, it's where you effectively make something love you by giving it food and shelter and affection, and then it regards you as a safe entity that, like, a friend, and then sometimes you can teach it to attack other things, like, you know, people you don't like.
And Eden will just be sitting there, like, in contemplation after that, like, just zones out.
Turns back to Corvus. So, like, well, let's get it going.
Corvus.
As Corvus is motions to be like, may I go to the lock then, Eden?
Um, I just don't want it to get loose, and then I'll have to hurt a lot of people if they try to hurt it.
We'll take care of it. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm
Can you
going
get
to
them by
try and
yourself, or do you need some help?
I believe I can deal with the locks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and give me a Thieves' Tools check.
How many locks are there?
There's 3.
Okay.
I'm going to say if he rolls high enough, I'm going to give him all 3.
Oh, I was
I
gonna say
did not roll high enough.
while Corvus is working on one, Eden's just gonna come up and like wedge the mason and just try to crack it upwards.
And, like, break the...
Yeah.
Sure, give me an athletics check.
Okay.
As I'm like delicately trying to do this.
Do you... Oh my god.
I only got a 13 on my attempt.
You got a 13?
That-
I'll say the first one. These aren't very intricate locks. They're there to do the job that they're there to do. Very easy to crack. They are thicker and heavier locks, which probably makes them easier to crack. But you have no problem just the bottom half swings down. You're able to take it off. Meanwhile, Eden on the other end with a 21. You take it and using kind of the leverage of Perrin's crowbar, crank it up. Go ahead and roll for shits and gigs. Roll your damage die.
Okay. I have to see because it's my mace. So hold on. Let's see which one that is.
D6, D8.
It's either a D6
I think
or
it's.
a D8.
I think it's my D8.
Yeah, I think that's your D8.
It's not my little one. It's my good one.
It's your one that Art made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is actually then 8, 9.
9. With a 9, you are able to crack the bolt that's placed into the wood at the bottom pretty effectively, kind of using that leverage to bend a bit of that wood that's there, and you hear a quick snap before that portion just kind of hangs there, and you're able to like lift it like a latch. That leaves the center one. That's all that's left.
Do you want to try to be fancy with this one too, or just open it?
Would like to do it delicately as to not further startle the creature.
And while you're 100%. Oh yeah, there's definitely some movement. The crate rocks a little after that. At that point, not a whole lot, but like enough to get a little bounce to it.
Do you still have berries?
As Corvus still has 3 left from that batch that he grabbed. Let me handle this one delicately. And above all, stay calm. And then we'll try to gently unlock it so that the goal is to unlock it so I can gently open it to then try to gently approach creatures, not to force the door and everything open. I
Mm-hmm.
want to keep
Uh,
everything slow and
For
without
the
startling.
record, it will be the top of the it'll be the top of the crate that you guys are able
Hmm.
to lift and move off. So at that point, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
You can like again lift yourself up and kind of put yourself in a position where you can see the creature once you do that. But go ahead
Okay.
and give me another thieves tool.
uh,
That's
Eden will be
19.
backing away, by the way. I just wanted to make that known.
Mm-hmm. Noted. Perrin.
Oh, hands in pockets, waiting for him to just do the thing, not
The
moving.
without any effort, the lock is unlocked, swings open. You remove it, pop the latches, pop the wood and bolts and lock that Eden cranked open up, and then start to push the lid. As you do, the owlbear shifts and kind of pushes its weight against the wall that you're at. The crate tips a little, but then it sees the lid moving kind of fully and you pushing yourself into the space, and it sits back and the crate rocks back to its original position.
All right. So my goal is to like get into um I don't know how to my brain, I think me and Corvus on the same like I want to do the slow hand reach and I would like to like channel all my state of calm and non-hostility focusing on well Bahamut and the essence of like I just want to help and I wanted to recognize me as someone who cares.
Okay. Make a animal handling check. Now, granted, you're going to be either like if you're lifting yourself up, you're going to be kind of like side saddling uh
Yeah.
the edge or like the lip of the crate, the top of the top of the crate, or just like straight up doing dope monk shit, like standing on it, like on the balls of your feet,
I picture like
reaching down
balls
to
on my
this thing.
feet and like squatting and like hands down to get its attention, and I got a 9. Uh, which
Okay,
9 is never a good number, but you
okay,
know,
okay, okay.
it'd be like that.
It'd be like that sometimes. The owl bear looks up at you as you're doing this, and doesn't get frightened, but like sees you up there and sees you kind of holding out your hand. And as it's going to move to go toward its hand or your hand, it's going to put most of its weight onto that wall of the crate that you're on. As it does so, it is able to get the momentum it needs with the combination of your weight on that ledge, kind of allowing for that kind of pendulum like swing. But it begins to tilt. You begin to fall because of dope monk shit. You just like very effortlessly just kind of kick off and land on the ground. But the crate off to the side. There are a couple pieces of art that. Oh, but you wagging your finger at me. What's up?
The moment the crate tips, Eden casts Wall of Leaves in the doorway.
In the doorway, like behind you guys.
Yes.
Okay.
Like to block off the way up. Like just instinct, like almost like Eden is backing away and is watching this and is just like is already ready to do it. And this just
Okay.
absolutely thick. How wide is that hallway?
The hallway going back to the house is only about 5-ish feet wide. Like it's a very tight. Like you guys were going like single file on your way in.
Okay. Well, because what I would like to do is just like, because the wall itself is 10 feet thick,
Mm-hmm.
is what it says. So I would just like to fill that hallway. It's my favorite part is that it says 30 feet.
Yeah.
So
Um,
just like the hallway to just
that's pretty
fill.
much the entirety of the hallway, and you know that how the curvature of the hallway too. So like you hear like somebody from inside the house, like one of the Platinum Bastions, going, where'd all these? We don't have trees down here.
Yeah, and it's just like all of a sudden, and then it just bursts into bloom. And then the blooms die, and it turns into this horrible thicket of bramble.
All right. Cool.
Why not?
And as you do that, the crate falls, crunching some of the pieces of artwork and some scrolls underneath it. And you hear, as lumbering out slowly and cautiously, you see the head and then the shoulders with the tiny tufts of fur starting to come through. The owl bear emerges about halfway, scanning and looking at the three of you.
Throws like one of the berries out and holds the others in their hand.
It looks
And
down,
Corvus will approach slowly.
eats the good berry the second it like hits the ground and rolls in front of it. Steps out again as you approach. Corvus, another animal handling check.
Does it matter that my origin from way before as a commoner was the shepherd? And this is kind of the one thing that I'm trained for, hence why I have a whip. If that matters.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
Just-
no, I mean are you not proficient in animal handling?
I'm only half proficient.
What? You should be full because of that.
I thought so too, but
Yeah,
I think with the
yourself full-
switch, it technically
No.
didn't count. So
Give yourself that full proficiency. That's from your commoner arc. That shit stays. Yeah, go ahead and give me a what do you call it?
all right,
Animal
so that's
handling.
a 14.
A 14. With a 14, it takes a couple more steps forward, and you get that like Chris Pratt in Jurassic World, where your hand's out there and you're extended, and the head of the owlbear starts to approach, and it sniffs your hand for a second before the head kind of tilts, and it allows you to like semi-palm the top of its head and feel the fur go between your fingers.
And I will just gently recognizing if it seems to act more like what I think a bear would. Bears are just giant dogs.
Okay.
It's
Sure.
it's true.
Sure, and
It-
continue
you can
to
care
enlighten me with this fact. Continue to enlighten me with this fact.
They're
As-
vicious, but the same way people think wolves and lions are. But truly, they are like
So
these
no-
large animals are, when treated kindly and sweetly, can be considered friendly to those they consider not hostile. It's a respect thing. So I want to try to emulate that essence on what I know about bears and being like,
Alright.
I'm here to help you. Don't fight me. But if we fight, it would end bad for both of us. I'm your friend, and
Alright.
we'll like
With a subtle
Try to
hint
pet
of
it,
threat.
like-
That's how you solidify a real
yeah.
friendship.
It's
It's like
it
this
is.
positive message backed with a minor threat.
Yeah.
There is that threat
Vaguely
in the back.
threatening.
You see this hand? I'm petting you. You see this other hand? It's a fist.
Actually,
of the
but I'm an
implication.
Astroself monk, so I'm petting you. This hand is in my pocket, but you see that astral hand? That's also mine.
Yeah, you forgot
see
the
that,
butt
You
wings.
see that butt hand? Yeah.
Butt wings.
You're never gonna live that down.
I'm not. I probably will forever have butt wings, apparently.
I
Um,
picture them coming out of your lower tail end. I do.
Why? They are...
Well,
Because it's so
your,
much fun.
Your ASMR wings come out the top. Your dragon wings come out your butt. That's just how it works. We didn't make
I
it.
have
Like-
a lumbar, if nothing else.
I said tail, like lower end. It's your tailbone.
Oh, I've been pushing it further and further down.
No, it's a lot better than where I originally pictured it.
You know Toothless? He's got
Anyway.
the little wings at the end of his tail. That's you.
Anyway,
I am trying to not tame the owlbear, but just
Um,
ensure that it knows we're friends. I just want to be friends with it.
Getting back on track. It takes a minute and like lets you put your hand through the top of its head, and then the head just like straight up like sees the good berries. The eyes see the good berries that Eden has, and it like cranes down and around you and is staring, like eyes super wide, head kind of doing that like owl cock to the side.
Eden will
Staring
throw
at the good
another,
berries.
like throw another one out towards it.
It quickly like shoulders you, Corvus. Not aggressively, but like food, and like shoulders past you to get the good berry that's rolled out in front of it. Um,
And then Eden will lay the rest of them in a pile and then like step like some feet away, like, non like body language wise, like slightly turned off to the side, not bold face and not making a direct eye contact with the animal. Like immediately looks very experienced of like trying to not seem threatening, is kind of like trying to look not intimidating, and is like walks away like after leaving the food there.
100%. And it walks up, and there's only like 2 or 3 left, small handful, and
Yeah, I think.
walks up and squats back on its hind legs and like full on sits, like how like bear sits. And then you watch as the first one kind of picks up a berry with its mouth, as the second one, or as one of its hands scoops in, and grabs the other 2 berries by its claws and like just kind of munching on them really quick, eating them before kind of just sitting there and staring at you, Eden, for a second, craning its neck back behind it, to look back at Corvus. At this point, the plumage, by the time it eats those last ones, full back to normal. It's looking very healthy, very full. That bit of like emaciated dystrophy that it had being filled out into the full size creature that it is. Judging by its size, Corvus, Eden, you're guessing this is like a late adolescence, early adulthood. Not quite at the age. It's at the age where it would begin fending for itself, but would likely still have a pair that it roamed with.
So what you're saying is it's Britney Spears circa like 2002, 2003. It's not a girl, not yet a woman.
Sure.
Yeah. And identifying alternative paths that came into this alcove.
It looks like farther on there's a pass, like farther into this chamber there's a passage that leads in and down, like continuing to go into the earth.
Let me
While
make very
they're-
clear, I only have this for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. While they've been mucking around trying to calm the bear, I would like to rummage around whatever is all in here, and just see what I can find. Looking specifically for items of magical nature.
Oh, sure. Go ahead and give me a investigation check.
Sure.
Do investigation first, and then we'll do an Arcana check.
Okay. Investigation of 22.
Okay, and then go ahead and give me an Arcana.
Arcana. 17.
17. So looking around, there's a lot here. The art, some of it you can tell just like kind of giving it that second glance that it's not it's not legit art, right? They're copies or replicas, but there are replicas and copies there, or there are replicas, but then also originals there, right? So like they're trying to sell off the replicas as the original by first showing the original and then going back and doing shady shit.
Got it.
All the furniture, antique, looks good, good quality. There's nothing that like really sticks out to you as like fake or phony there. You start going through the different shelves and bookcases and desks that are there, and you keep looking back at a skull. And this skull looks almost like purposefully placed as you continuously like look back at it. First time you're like, huh, that's weird. Okay, there's a skull. Second time, as you're moving and making your way a little bit closer over there, you're like, wait a minute. This desk that I just looked at had dust on it, and there's no dust on the skull. And go ahead.
And walk over and pick it up.
As you go and pick it up, the skull itself isn't a humanoid. It's a humanoid skull, but it's draconic in nature, or at least lends you to believe that it's either a larger lizard folk's head, or a kobold, or a small dragonborn. But as you lift it up,
But Perrin doesn't believe in like any of those things.
No, I don't believe in dragons. Dragonborn, those are two different things.
Okay, sure.
that's a okay.
There's a lot to unpack there. Keep moving on.
As you pick up the head, the eyes immediately begin to glow this like a dull grayish black, almost like as if small like black fires were beginning to start within the sockets.
Just kind of like turn it, just kind of examine it.
Where is he?
Where is who?
Where is my fellow Baron? Or well, I guess where is the Baron of Worms? You'd recognize the voice to be Dolus's.
I'm holding the dragon skull. I kind of tilt the dragon's eyes to face Corvus.
Is this out loud perchance or like?
Oh yeah, it like emanates through it. Not like emanates like bouncing off the walls, but like Eden and Corvus as the voice begins to speak, you can both hear it.
I have small hands. I've got to use both hands.
You turn
first.
the skull. I see. I'm relieved that you have released it. Though I'm a bit saddened. It would have been nice to have a creature of that ferocity under my control.
See, that's what I said. But anyways, sorry. Is this how like we can communicate with you directly?
For now, after this conversation, this mouthpiece will end. I have others elsewhere, places for you to find.
All right.
So you have a way to communicate through these things, and could you not just give us the information you know I seek and save us the carnival of travel?
This allows me to communicate discreetly in a way that can't be traced. These skulls are almost like, I don't know if you've had experiences with them, but familiars. I can leave them behind and speak, see through them, interact through them.
Yeah, I've heard tale of them. They kind of like go up in flames afterwards. They're called burners. Yeah.
Something of the sort, yes. When this conversation is over, I will end my connection with this one. It will no longer cease to exist. When you find another one of mine and interact with it, I will be... Oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm pointing to my head like he's talking to you. Because there's no hands on this thing. I will be made aware and will be able to connect and speak with you telepathically.
Again,
Oh, great.
that
So how many innocent animals have you taken from their natural environment and forced into a box?
Well, this was not my doing. It was meant to be a gift to one of the lumberers in Alverton from my father, so that way the mortal hand can establish operations there.
back to the point of this is discreet. Can you again just give the information you know I need so that we can be done with this parlor tricks? If it's discreet enough, just talk to me. Save us the time.
Beyond the lake, where the fringes of the Underdark would meet the surface is where my father holds his court, I guess you would call it.
Okay. And Perrin will turn the skull to look behind him, and which would be the opposite direction from where we came.
Yeah,
Where there's
you're pointing toward the thing down,
the
the
exit,
passage down.
and I go, and I just kind of go, which is that way.
Yes, this is one such passage. There are several safe houses which, under my direction, have begun being evacuated.
Okay, thank you. Perrin lifts up the skull, throws it on the ground, shatters it.
As you're like
Right.
lifting
Has
up,
it-
you're like you hear like a but wait, and then like Bart's as it's like.
I turn
Corvus
to
doesn't even
Corvus.
do like a flinch. Corvus is like, all right, we got what we needed. Like that's
I
Guys,
could have let the windbag continue going, but I feel like we would have wasted a lot of time.
I can't
We know where
hold
to
the
go.
wall much longer.
Okay, we're going. We are walking. We're walking, and
I don't
Perrin
want
just
to
kind of
go
like
down
starts
that way
to
without
follow.
some sort of rest.
unfortunately, I believe time would be of the essence.
Are you
We
sure?
can take a breather, but we do not
You-
have much time other than
But what are we doing with this poor beast? There is nothing to keep it in here. Is the wall behind just kind of.
There's nothing to keep it in
No.
here. All we have to do is convince it to
Okay.
continue to walk with us.
But
Uh,
if for any reason somebody comes in here,
Lord Baron, are you all right?
Yes, we are dealing with an owlbear. Please stand
Um,
by.
Up. Oh. Yes, sir.
And then, like, as the Corvus is like, wait a minute. Soldier, do we have someone that deals with animal husbandry or other things, taming creatures, and
you would marry
Of the
an
sorts.
animal?
I was
love
just
how,
gonna ask the same thing.
I love how you're talking through a 30-foot hallway. Like,
yes, do you have this?
Hey, do you have this thing that I need? Sir, yes, I could get that for you. Like, as you yell that, you can hear the steps of one of your platinum guard kind of starting to walk down the chamber toward you. As it gets to the turn, it sees you, Eden, or he sees you, Eden, and continues walking.
And the
until,
bramble.
The bramble's now gone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like now there's like maybe some twigs on the ground. It's
Stepping,
kind
you
of-
can hear the crunching of the twigs and leaves and branches underneath. Gets to the doorway on that end, or that entryway on that end, and looks in and goes, not within your household, sir. There are probably some in the higher rings who we can contact.
Furthermore, let them know that if any harm comes to this beast, that their insides will become their outsides.
Not in
He
such
looks
a
at
literal
you
manner.
and says, right. Is the objective to bring this owlbear to the surface?
Oh yeah, and to release it into the wild so that no harm comes onto it and it does not harm anything else. And to properly rephrase what my companion here has stated, anyone who performs any undue harm onto the creature will be held in contempt of the lore of the Wormhaven House.
And then I will find a way to make sure that I get to eviscerate them.
She talks things. Don't.
In essence, this creature is to be treated with respect as if a guest of the Wormhaven house.
I mean, we did feed him, so he is a guest.
Noted. I can attempt to take the creature now if you wish.
Oh, you are you sure? Because
no.
it's strong. So
Fully healthy.
we brought it back to full health, and I would be very careful trying to tame and or perform any kind of handling of this creature if I were you. So perhaps maybe you keep a safe distance and make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And oh, for fuck's sakes, it's eaten all of your berries, hasn't it?
Mhm. Do you want me to
All
make more?
Yeah.
right.
And as
No,
Corvus will go to
no,
the guard,
hold on.
Corvus, because Corvus has three more.
Yeah.
Corvus only dropped two. Ration these over a few, however long it takes, to then get more food from the butchers for meat for it to consume in portions until you can get the individual who can handle the creature, get it escorted as far as you can, as close to Wormhaven Manor if you must, and during that time until it can be properly placed in where it will call home. These steps are to be done delicately.
He takes the good berries from you and says, uh, "Yes, I can do that." And as he's like, the good berries are placed into his hands, you watch as like the owl bear's already starting to kind of stand up and like make its way over the uh, to the guard.
And like Corvus will grab one.
In the guard's head, he just hears, "But seriously, I will murder somebody if any." Like, just in this.
No,
hear
you
me.
haven't made your point. Good lord.
I understand. He looks at you. I understand. Please get out of my head. Parent, you had something you wanted to do.
No, he got the berries. He had his own thing. I need to do nothing in this situation.
You were
Yeah,
you were gonna use
Corvus
your
will.
you were gonna use your yeah.
Oh, the nut stick.
Yep,
That's right.
the good nuts.
The
The
good
good
Yeah,
nuts.
no.
Yep.
No, Corvus will try to give the owlbear one more berry to hold it over, and we'll once again do the slow hold to pet piece, and then we'll like motion to the guard as like a friendly approach, and we'll focus all good vibes that way so that
Give,
it can be handled.
give me another animal handling.
Why are you making me roll so much? It's almost like this game requires it or something.
I mean, you're the one trying to get an owl bear to do something that you want it to, and an owl bear technically isn't even an animal. So
Mm-mm.
That's why it should listen to me. That's a 25.
a 25. Wow.
Yeah.
Geez. Yeah. It looks at you. It looks at the guard. Looks back at you, and then looks at the guard, and takes a step toward the guard, and the guard starts to semi-lead. Perrin.
I point towards the guard. Hey, could you just like open your mouth for like a quick second? And I'll like kind of like totter over to like I'll be very quiet and get within 10 feet of him so that the owl bear can't see me.
I
Uh,
get.
shh,
Uh,
just shut up. Just shut. Don't say anything. Just close your mouth now. And when I point at you, open your mouth. And I'm going to like give him finger guns. And as he opens his mouth, I'm going to cast Prestidigitation to release the sound of an owlbear.
Okay. And this little. How loud of a noise?
It's not.
Like on a
It's
scale of 1 to 10.
probably like a 4.
Okay.
Yeah, because it says faint magical notes.
Gotcha.
Faint musical notes. So I know the sound that it makes, so I can kind of musically make
Yeah.
something of that nature.
Let's out a little bit of like a. As it mouth opens. The owlbear cocks its head and then takes another step forward. And the guard begins to lead the owlbear away from you all, out toward the city.
Turn to Eden. Well, it would seem that we handled that fairly well. Wouldn't you agree?
That has yet to be seen.
I turn to Corvus and throw my arms up in the air and I start walking on the other way.
As like, or she killed a man outside this building. I don't know what to expect half the time. As follows.
Okay, but people suck. Animals didn't do nothing. Because Eden is just like following behind, like, but guys.
Corvus, roll a d100 for me.
I don't wanna.
Ooh.
Womp womp.
It's a 34.
34. Cool. Noted.
Okay, but seriously, those people were bad people probably, and that Albert was just fine. And
The owl bear. I just want to clarify this: the person who's most attuned to the nature and natural elements. The owl bear was just fine in the box. Is that what you're saying?
no, I mean that the Albert was worth saving.
Yeah, no. I mean, why would we want to leave it in the crate?
No, I'm just meaning that's why if they mess up and get killed, I want to hurt someone.
But do you
Uh,
you believe that people aren't worth being saved?
Some of them?
And who gets to make that choice?
Oh. I haven't got that far.
Before you collectively decide who deserves death, take the time to consider why death is deserved.
You
Pain.
begin. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, pain caused to you, pain caused to people. You're
Pain caused if they're the root of pain.
uh-huh.
And you have caused pain.
Very great physical pain. So are you
And
telling me that
Also,
you're
like mental pain.
yes.
so what you're asserting at its very core is that because of what you've caused, you deserve to die.
Probably.
Then you believe that it's the
Aye.
same for myself, that I deserve to die, that I should have burned in that fire and not come back.
No, but you tried to make people's life better.
But I would not be able to if I was not given the chance to try. Once you condemn someone to death, you also remove their ability to come back better.
It's really hard
Every,
to not be angry.
hey, no one's saying it's not hard to not be angry. Trust me, I put on a really nice show for everyone around me. And then when I'm ready to let go of the emotions that I've been bottling up because I'm a halfling, and that's what we're taught, is that you take all the emotions that you're feeling, you hold all of them down inside, and until the moment that you're ready to poop yourself to death, then you let them go. So
Okay, but my argument is maybe they don't deserve death, but they deserve something because right now they are of their own flu, um, fruition
fruition, right,
of
that's the right word.
they're okay, um, they're making these horrible decisions and hurting people, and they have every freedom to do so. So when they're not going to be held accountable, they have no problem hurting others. So it's necessary for somebody to come in and correct.
You're almost there. You're very close. But
But
at the
what's
end,
better, make an example. Not that they all.
well, again, you kind of you're very close to the right path in this situation. Justice is delivered by more than one person. A collective of individuals
Like
should be
three.
able to. Sure.
Because are we not going to kill Nathaniel?
I turned to Corvus.
The intention is not to kill Nathaniel. The intention is to cease the malefiction that the mortal hand has become and purge whatever condemns that portion of society. This does not mean that he must die. It means he will be given a choice, a chance to do better or suffer
Right.
his own natural consequences, though I am not the one to judge on how that will come to be. But if he chooses to fight me, then I will defend myself. But I do not seek blood. I seek justice as I have done in every life I have lived before, as every chance that others were not given. All they need is someone to remind them of a choice.
I'm gonna remember that you said that, and then I'm gonna remind you of something later down the line so that you can like remember the slight hypocrisy you've just kind of spouted there. Um,
I am
uh,
aware, very much so. I
Which one?
oh, we'll get to it. It's not important right now, but probably be important later. So, something I like to call a teachable moment. What are we looking for? Is it just like a continual path down the way to
Can either of
find
So
you
whatever?
see right now in the darkness?
at
I have a
this
dark
dark
did it
point,
vision.
get?
as you guys have started,
Does
well,
everybody have dark vision?
I'll say
Just
as you guys have
checking.
started, yeah, you guys definitely would have started. This was a walk and talk type of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
Yeah.
it goes down at like it's oddly cut in a way that there isn't really any general direction. It's more or less it's going down, but in a way that's following the natural flow and give of the rock, right? So where those who carved this were able to safely carve this pathway, which is about 10, sometimes in some places between 10 and 15 feet wide. It varies. It looks as if it's big enough to be able to drag larger crates and packages and things of that nature through. Archway, the pathway itself is also about 10 to 12 feet high, mostly vaulted, and this is extending. It goes down a bit, and then it curves, does a little kind of loop like a corkscrew for like a level, what you would imagine to be a level or two, before evening out and going on straight a little bit. Go ahead and give me, whoever's going to lead the way, give me a survival check.
That's Corvus.
Unfortunately, survival is not my best, but
Yes,
and the
you're
dice
bad
agree
at
with me. That's a 7.
That's a 7. There there are offshoot tunnels, and every once in a while, you kind of look down. Some of them starting to begin that slow incline upward. Some of them, you'd imagine these are where some of the other tunnels from other layers of deep well begin to converge. In some occasions, there are even some in the ceiling where there's like a 15 foot by 15 foot hole just in the ceiling that looks up, and you can see the ceiling of the next of like the pathway above you, where things could be lowered or moved or shifted without having to go straight down and then bring it back up. Very intricately detailed. You find yourself after about 15 to 20 minutes. Again, we're going to go back. Actually, before I do this next part, we're going to go back to Eden's question of light. How do you light your way? For Perrin, the halfling who has no sight, and as well as Corvus, who I believe Asimar don't get dark vision as well, or don't have dark
I
vision.
actually have dark vision, and I have no idea why.
Is it from Asimar? Do Asimar get dark vision? It might be from Asimar.
I think the new ASMR does have dark vision. Is what I've. Yeah, I was like, wait, I have dark
Uh,
vision. Where?
I mean, I carry a candle, so
It's fine. Because Corvus will just kind of take their gauntlet and just I can cast light,
oh, very nice.
and so I'll just light on my gauntlet hand and just kind of use that. It also makes it fast. If I need to fight, I could just ready.
That's actually pretty
So I'll
good.
use that as the light.
Cool. You guys have your light source leading the way. With your 7, you find yourself instinctively turning down one of these offshoot paths about maybe about 15, 20 minutes or so into your descent. As you do, the pathway opens into a large cavern. You could hear the steady rush of water as a small kind of, not necessarily a waterfall, but like a spring comes from a corner of the chamber into a small pond, and then that pond leads into a crack in the rocks that continues downward. The crack itself not big enough for any one of you except for maybe Perrin if he really tried to squeeze through. But looking around the chamber, this looks like one that was naturally found. The pathway to it is carved, and then once it's in there, there are spots where it was maybe expanded around to act as some sort of potential rest station. Let's see, passive perception check for Corvus and for Eden, wicked fucking high. So you're also able to notice that there is a spot where like the remains of several fires would have been, as well as like places in the disturbed earth where bedspreads would have been put down, or like bedrolls would have been put down.
And I'm looking for where the water of the Underdark connects to the surface.
So you're looking where essentially you're going, you would know that the lake at the bottom, like far, far below even the bottommost tier, the rings of Deepwell. Deepwell is trying to get to the point where the bottommost ring surrounds the lake. They're not quite there yet. There may be 2 or 3 more rings until they get to that point. But you would know where that lake sits is practically the threshold of the Underdark and the above world.
Okay. So yeah, with this spot, I would like to try to identify, like take a small respite, but also mostly see which path would still lead towards the lake from here. Seeing if there's a clear path is my first goal.
Are you requesting a short rest?
Maybe. It depends on if I can identify the next path and what the circumstances are. It's less on a short rest and more Corvus being like, if we're getting close enough, we need to take a moment and prepare for whatever next encounter there is and plan.
Go ahead and make another survival check.
Damn. I'd like to change my class to Ranger for like a session, please. That's an 11.
With an 11, you're not quite sure. Corvus, while you've lived many lives in the deep, dark places of the world, is not one of those.
No, it was not. The Underdark was not a choice.
In regards to like places you've been to Deepwell, you've been to the layers of Deepwell, but like traveling through extensive tunnel systems that an underground association uses to transport goods, not under the list of experiences that you've had in your life. So I
skipped that playthrough.
You don't feel like you're lost, right? There's definitely if I can keep going down, then I know where I'm going. But it's a matter of like, is that offshoot like an offshoot that leads up, or is it one that could lead down? Right? You're kind of second guessing the process of getting down while still going downward.
Okay. So Corvus will cease here and kind of. This is a place used for rest for others. We can gain a moment to gather our bearings for what we need to observe, specifically where Lithania might be. However, I am not certain which path would be best.
Do you want me to look around and see if maybe some of my old knowledge may help?
That would be preferable. I unfortunately have no memories of caverns in any life I've lived. Most experiences have been above ground.
I've had lots of nightmares. And then Eden's just going to turn and kind of start poking around a little bit. Just to kind of see if one of these paths looks more traveled, if I can catch any hint of a breeze or a smell of water, like that's not specific to this. Like if I can smell like a more damp, like more moisture coming from a direction.
And I would like to add in like that what we're looking for is that connection to the well underneath. That means any path that leads towards the water and downward would be our prime direction. And I still feel like I would know the general direction of where the well is from here. Like our turns, I'm like, I know we're sent to deep well circular. If you just keep your axis point, I know that I'm looking for it to be that way.
Yeah, and you're
Like-
less of looking for like the lake itself, but more of like that threshold that would be we've reached the point where we're at the lake and like we're going beyond that, so we know we're in the Underdark. We're in the like gray zone between the Underdark and the above world.
Yep.
But yeah, Eden, go ahead and give me a survival.
Alrighty, that is a 23.
That's better.
19 on the die.
A 23. You notice several things, and I would say you kind of do like a go for it.
That's a 27 because I have a guidance.
Oh, you do, yes.
Cool. So with that, you're gonna get a lot more. I'm also going to take the liberty of semi-safely moving you a little bit away from the other two.
Okay.
So in order to do this, like you got to wander a little, right? So you backtrack a little and start really listening. You kind of close your eyes and you just let the stillness and calmness of the cave systems, the tunnel systems, come to you, and you just start to walk and wander. You go back a little, nothing. You continue forward, following the path, going back to the main path and following the way that you have been. It goes down about 30 or so feet before it opens up into a series of tunnels, not just like one or two. We're talking like 5 or 6 kind of splayed like fingers in different directions. And you take a minute to focus with the 27 that you got. To your left, you can hear from a couple of the tunnels the lake has like a small current, right? Like it has that small kind of ripple, and you can begin to hear the lapping of water upon stone. You can feel cooler air coming from that direction. From the ones that are more in the straight ahead, you can... It's almost like a must. It's dirty. It's
Like from so
bit of like almost like sweat or grime. There's like a layer, just like a not necessarily a layer of filth, but a layer of effort, right? Go ahead and give me an Arcana check.
That's completely fell out of the dice tray. Okay. Well, that's cool because I forgot to move that one stat over. Okay. That is then a dirty 20.
The dirty 20. It's a different sense than what you felt before. However, it is very familiar. Both Wisteria, actually, all 3 of your sisters have their own form or way to represent it. But you, on top of this like filth, griminess, this like just kind of like uncleanliness, this feel of uncleanliness, your hairs on the back of your arms and even on the back of your neck a little stand on end. There's a sense of decay. Of not necessarily death, but of corrosion. Something not completely whole. To your right, you can hear, take a moment, and in the silence, you can hear the flapping and like moving of bats and down one of the tunnels. And down another, you can see up in the arches, like the corners of the passages, these cobwebs that take take up much of the space, and you take a second to like step in and look, and there's a like almost an acidity to that region, like to those sets of tunnels to the right.
In Eden's head, like they're just thinking like, well, these are clearly probably really bad paths to follow. Something probably died over there, and don't like spider webs, so but that one's okay. It's like just sitting there. And then trying to decide how nosy Eden wants to be, but she's not dumb. Now this smell of decay, like you said that because of those three, like it was like, was it something they had done or their particular smell?
It was not of their smell.
Just like that.
More of the circle of life and death that they would have showed you and taught you. There isn't a distinct like I can pick out one of the three, but like even within the one, like even though they each had their own distinctive way of bringing about this kind of death and rebirth, or growth, the constant was always there. There was always like that one particular feeling, that one particular vibe, the one particular kind of like sense that you got when you were in an area around there where it was thick with this almost, dare I say it, necromantic vibe.
I wonder if our friends hangs out down here. And Eden will pull like this chunk of really dry bread that they have had in their bag. And we'll start leaving a trail of breadcrumbs back to where she came from, back to Corvus and Perrin.
Perfect.
Oh,
That's what I imagine the sound is when she eventually shows back up.
yeah.
Okay. But yeah, you eventually find your way back to Corvus and Perrin. You probably weren't gone longer than maybe 5 minutes or so. So not very long enough for them to get a small like little fire going and set up a place for you all to rest. And as we head into that short rest, that's where we'll take a quick break.
Woo!
When they rest, we rest.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes. Until then, sit tight. Actually, go do your thing. Get some water. Actually, drink lots of water, and we'll see you for the continuation of our adventure shortly. What?
Oh, nothing.
Hi, everybody.
This little split's gonna go great, and nothing bad is gonna happen, and then the happy people are probably gonna be sad people later.
Now roll a deck save because it came in.
The Cinnabons are going to be burnt Cinnabons? Is that what you're telling me?
Ah. No, maybe.
Hi, welcome back. The party is in a small alcove of sorts. Hi, Eddie. In a small alcove of sorts, taking their short rest. While you guys are taking your short rest, because it's roughly, give or take, about an hour. A little bit over an hour. I do quick ones. You can rush it and do an hour short rest. But yeah, I need one person to give me a perception check.
I think we're like, which one of us I guess I'll do it. I'll take this one.
I roll.
My modifier is great, but my rolls are terrible.
That's what I'm saying.
23.
Okay.
23. While you guys are sitting, relaxing, hanging out, Eden, remember that you can do your thingy-majig now, I think.
It's a long rest.
Is it only a long rest?
Da-da-da-da-da.
as part of. Haha.
No, I thought we changed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So you do your thing.
So.
But
yes.
yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Corvus, you are kind of taking this time in your meditative, kind of contemplative state to listen to what's going on around you. As you do, you hear a couple of things echoing from the chambers beyond. You can hear somewhere out there the shrill cry of some sort of small creature, likely a bat. Yes.
Just confirming. You say likely a bat. So my perception does not let me know if definitively, and I only say that because I have a trauma with harpies now.
You don't think you'd find a harpy on like hundreds of feet underground. Who knows? Maybe, but no. It sounds like some sort of smaller, almost like rodent-sized creature, give out a shrill cry, and then like followed by like a wet crack of a whip, like almost like a gummy pull.
A gummy pull.
Like a.
Okay.
Where it has that little bit of like elasticity to it, but it doesn't sound like it's like made of like a regular material.
Does it sound silken by chance?
You can't quite make it out. It could be it's denser than silk, I would say, but not as like hardened or taut as something like leather would be.
Okay.
The other thing you make out is that you can hear shuffling, like let's see if my mic will pick it up, like a.
Not picking it up, unfortunately.
By the way, did I forget to mention
slow
to
walk
you?
and then a scurry.
Yeah. I can only make the shuffle noise if I move my feet really fast, and I'm afraid to touch anything now.
Okay.
Did I forget to mention, by the way, like also when during this short rest, Eden would have conveyed the tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
FYI, that absolutely would have been like Eden would have just very nonchalantly described each one.
Yeah, but you can hear the shuffling of feet with the occasional kind of clattering of either metal or metal, like metal on metal, or like metal on something made of wood. And then a couple of times you thought you heard, coming from a little bit closer than any of the other sounds, like a brief like hushed whispers. Like, what languages do you know again?
My specific languages are Celestial, Common, Draconic, Elvish, and Orcish.
Okay. Yep. None of those. But like the hushed,
Dang.
like echoes of echoes coming from relatively close, more or less.
Okay. None of it seems immediately concerning, but I will make note of it and convey the sounds that I can easily identify, and then kind of leave the rest to be like, there's additional sounds, but not quite certain what they are. I don't want to give false information.
Well, and while this is all happening, Eden is just like throwing stuff into their cauldron and like pulls out one of the old harpy hearts and like kind of like takes it, just like crushes it and like is like putting it into the cauldron, just like reaches on the ground, like picks up some of the dirt, throws that in there, and it's just like doing weird shit. With all of this happening, upon Corvus explaining this, does Eden smell any of the smells that she smelled earlier?
I'd say not in the immediate vicinity, no.
I don't like that descriptor. Okay. Then like by the end of this, Eden will take 3 little silver cups out, and we'll pour. Well, let's do little bottles. So Eden pulls out 3 little like silver vials type things, and pours this like kind of chunky, liquid into each of them, and puts like a lid on it, and I'm only like pretty sure, but I think if you drink this stuff, it should make it harder to hurt you. Pretty sure. I don't know what it'll do, like, you know, but I've been trying some new stuff.
And this is to be consumed now, or when I believe it is
When
time to
when
not
you're
get hit?
when you're ready to use it, probably like not in the middle of stuff, but it should last for a little while. So, just if we see like, I don't know, a spider or something, not dead, but some dead, then maybe that like would be time to. It's gonna taste really bad.
All right.
Yeah, I watched what you put in it. It's going to taste like shit. That's for sure.
Art's way better at the flavor stuff, and that's kind of why I wanted Art's help, was because I knew this was not gonna taste good.
It's okay. I can make anything that I eat taste like whatever I want.
That's good, because this is straight up harpy heart and mud.
Those berries you made, how many more can you make?
Well, I could probably make a few more, but then also like I can't do much other things.
I've got 20 nuts I can give you at some point.
The only reason I want to know is how long they last. If so, it may be best to have some on each of us so that if something does happen, one of the others can restore.
Memory
you
serves
mean-
correct. Of course that's what he's saying. Because he's morbid.
I mean, I've
They-
fallen down twice.
For sure. The berries last for about a day.
As like I think during the like chores, Corvus has been tending to like the few wounds that has gotten when got into fight, and everybody was like hitting him because I took a lot of damage. Just in case for any reason one of us can't get to the other, maybe we can support ourselves enough to keep going, or in case someone is in dire straits, we can mend that. But whatever happens as we go further, if things get too overwhelming,
whatever you're gonna say right here and right now sounds like incredibly thinly thought. I like because you have the look on your face. It says, "Oh, if something goes real bad, I want you to leave me. I want you to get out as fast as you can," because you you have this like absolutely infuriating sense of like pride that you have to maintain about yourself. So could you like save me the absolute nonsense of having to listen to that and just like pretend like you said it, pretend like I completely ignored it, and then we could just move on with our lives.
Sometimes you two remind me of Finn and Orchid.
based on my understanding of your
It
assertions,
just makes like a super smart ass look of like just like there is obvious sarcasm, like that's Eden's attempt at like making joke, and it's just kind of like smirking.
regardless. And then like Corvus will pull out like this herbal paste, and in the event that other things are dire, I have this on me. It is good at mending lesser wounds to keep someone from, well, dying. It doesn't
Right.
revive, but it'll prevent immediate death. Explaining the healer's kit in case there's a need to stabilize.
Sure.
It's an emergency boost.
that.
Meta level, if y'all down that, it's a +1 AC for an hour.
Cool.
Additional meta level for your nuts.
Okay, some nut meta level.
I didn't mean to say that,
go.
and then I said it, and I'm like, you know what, cool, we're gonna roll with it.
Meta nuts continue.
But your meta nuts. Damn it! Now I'm imagining.
I don't
like,
want to live on this
like
planet anymore.
Meta Man, but oh my god, your nuts. If you were to make
Playing.
a certain amount of them, right? If you were to make all of them, right? Say all 20 of them, you could divvy them up amongst each other. You guys, I will allow it to be used like a potion, so using it as a bonus action. However, you can't just pick like, oh, I'm gonna have one. Like I'm gonna take like 12 and shove them in my mouth and eat them, right? We'll say I'm gonna give you more than one. I'm gonna say it's going to be a D4, right? Like you reached in your pocket, grabbed a handful of nuts, and shoved them in your mouth, right? That's how many you get. So you can have up to a D4, which means up to 4, minimum of 1, because yeah.
I mean, Corvus' goal was in case someone goes unconscious to do so, because that's
Shove-
the best way to
shove
shove
nuts
nuts
in
in.
their mouth.
Corvus is gonna shove. I'm not gonna.
Just go all Oklahoma on it. Go ahead.
And once
I
we've
said what I said.
gathered that insight on some things, because Corvus is just going to be taking, since we have that like time to recover during the short rest and hearing the things, like really emphasizing what Corvus, what we've learned is, I'm not entirely sure on how the full manifestation of all these effects work, but I am best to ensure I am in combat at all times. I'm not much help otherwise, to emphasize. That is where my skill set tends to lean.
Yeah, I mean, like, I could have told you that.
I don't know that combat is my strong suit because I keep,
Well, I mean, you're not wrong, but at the same time, like, if you paced yourself and maybe took a minute to like gauge where you needed to be in the moment, think about it like this: there are 3 areas on a battlefield where you should be in the middle of the shit, where most of the things are happening, just on the outside
so you can
of the
punch
shit.
them in the face.
There's right, yeah, and then in the middle of the shit, so that you could kind of get in and step out or do things kind of like a little bit, and then there's where I am, which is on the outside of all the shit, and you throw things at the shit so that you don't get harmed. So being in the middle is probably where you want to be. You let him absorb any and all kinds of damage, and then when you realize that maybe you might want to get in there, you go out there and you step in and you take things into your own hands.
Corvus should take the shit,
Yes.
and I should just throw more shit at the shit.
Yeah.
But be
yeah,
closer.
absolutely. Yes. So you're going to take a little bit of a step back. You give him some space, allow him to do what needs to be done, and then if for whatever reason he looks like he's getting his ass handed to him, you take it upon yourself to kind of assist him and be there with him. But you have things, and he kind of like gestures like Spider-Man, that kind of come out of your hands, and that would help, right, from a distance, which would be nice. So you can do those things from a little bit away, and then if he needs you, you can get in there and fucking whack him. But give yourself some,
I'm not dying.
But and then he turns to Corvus. Do not expect me to help you. I'm staying out here.
I expect you to stay, and yes.
Yeah, that's where I'm best suited, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I only speak this way because I want to ensure that we're all on the same page. And this is a double point of emphasis. Eden, I need you to remain in control this time.
Yeah,
We cannot
right.
be in the midst of whatever we're going to face. And I cannot know that I have to also contest with whatever you will be dealing towards me, with whatever we may face from Nathaniel.
So did we want nuts? I just need to know.
If we can have those on hand, it would be
Sure. Yeah.
Nuts on
preferable.
Eden,
hand.
yeah, we'll get some nuts on hand, and then Eden, if you could get some berries as well, we'll have like a nice little trail mix kind of thing.
Should
So
I use my energy
just
for
one,
that?
just one. How many? Wait, hold on. How
I
many
did
times
one
do you think?
earlier.
How
So
many
now
times do
it's
you
I'm
think you
gonna
could?
I've only got like maybe 5 more in general
Okay,
total.
so okay, so maybe yeah, I'm
That's
I'm I'm in the same boat.
mm,
So maybe
if you have
maybe
nuts to spare, you should probably just share those.
I yeah. So I
Corvus
will.
really seems like that's what he wants. So
I mean, I can tell if you look at if you see how he's salivating for the nuts, then you know you understand. So I'm gonna pull out the hazelwood wand, and I'm gonna
goodness.
get onto the ground and just kind of like swirl the wand around, and then from the ground will sprout like a little like hazelnut sprig, and I will pull 10 off of them, um, and then as requested, I will cast it again just in case, and I will that's another 10, so that's 20 nuts that I have, and I'm going to divide them like this. If I have 20 and there are 3 of us, I am going to give uh I'm going to give 8 to Corvus. I'm going to give 7 to Eden, and I will give 5 to myself. That's 20.
Cool. And each nut
Just
heals for
does
2
2
HP. 2 HP instead
instead
of
of
1.
1. Cool.
Okay.
Hey,
All right. Now we've got nuts on
I'm ready.
hand,
Hmm.
and we'll be able to, whenever you feel like you need a boost, you just put your nuts in your mouth, and then you should be able to get as much as you can out of them.
Well, and honestly, with if you have any kind of thing to make this stuff taste better, chug that that tonic down really fast. Try not to choke on it. It has chunks of stuff. Meta level also let me know when you do it.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So let's make way, huh?
Let it be.
Ooh, I know that song. And I will literally start playing Let It Be on my lute as we start walking.
Cool. Make a performance check for me.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
That's a
I'll wait for
20.
that.
A 20.
Of course it is.
With a 20. You play your music. It is inspiring. It is heartwarming. And it echoes throughout the chambers around you. You follow Eden's breadcrumbs until you get to the kind of semicircle of splayed and extending pathways.
While we're here,
Eden will point out each one, by the way. Like as soon as Eden's like, this one was this one and this one.
and I want to adjust my light. I will actually take a ball bearing, kind of tuck it into my gauntlet where my palm is, where my fingers are slightly exposed space, so that the light can shine. My intention is if I need to turn off the light quickly, I can just close my fist without like removing light, so I can have a quick lantern approach.
100%. I'd say you'd have to hold it more like this in front of
Yeah.
you rather than like that.
Like and if pointed out to highlight things, otherwise it's just a general radiance like this to just
Yeah, like you can tuck it in between your fingers even, like in your gauntlet.
yeah,
Right? And like have it like
just to
there,
be
like
able
that.
to
Yeah.
perfect.
I feel you. I get you. I dig it. Cool. 100%. So you have to your immediate left, those tunnels are the ones that Eden heard more of the splashes of water on rock. And then the next ones were the death and decay. The next ones after that were some sort of bats or flying, small rodenty things flying in the air. And then the farthest to the right were the ones that had this kind of layer of these cobwebby fixtures on the kind of upper reaches of it.
Corvus is gonna just make note towards Eden of like which way is best towards where we need to be.
Well, we're trying to go towards the lake, correct?
Yes, as close as we can before we reach the boundary into the Underdark's path.
Well, the sound of water came from that one. If I'm honest, one of them gives me the creeps. And the one that smells of death reeks of more than just death, but some manipulation. And I'm not sure if it's nefarious or if it's perhaps Dolus's friends. But I don't think that those are immediate concerns if our attempt is to make it where we're trying to go.
I would like to kind of go back through my mind. I know what Dolus is kind of capable of doing. Shadows and undead. Does how much information did I have on Lethaniel's prowess?
I would say
And
go ahead and give me a history check, but it's going to be with disadvantage.
That's fair.
Not much info. You don't have much information, or you wouldn't have many resources that would have reached that far.
Double 13, so 14.
14. You would know that he is a capable fighter. Nathaniel has a more powerful build. However, he is very, very quick on his feet.
Got it.
The stories that you've heard are the stories of like a typical like mafia don, right? Where like they handle their own business and don't let underlings do the discipline unless it's like absolutely necessary, like he can't be there. But he is an imposing figure. Wields been known to wield a longsword. At times has been known to wield ranged weaponry, but tends to mostly face his challenges directly.
Okay. No attributes known of magical inclination, like how his son seems to be able to do.
Not that you've seen or heard. Like, not that you've seen or heard, I would say. With a 14?
Okay.
Yeah, no.
So all these paths seem to go where we need to go, right, Eden? But like some of them are shadier than others.
Yeah, that's kind of and I mean one of them straight up smells like the water and the sound of the water, and we know we're trying to go towards the lake.
Corvus is going to follow the obvious route of water with like extra like caution, because that way seems the easiest, which also means that would possibly be where Nathaniel's people would litter the path.
Okay. Go ahead.
Eden will just convey all of like those details like as in depth as possible, and kind of like does the like,
that's not my strong suit.
I would say, additionally, on top of that, as Perrin's been kind of playing in the background, and you're standing in this space, from the pathways on the more kind of the straight leftish side, where you felt that more necrotic energy, you start to hear this soft, just kind of
dead silence.
Oh, did you not hear? You didn't hear it? Did my mic not pick it up? Oh my god, I gotta do it again.
Oh,
It was either too quiet or too loud.
You hear
just
like
just describe it. Yeah.
you hear like a breath. It's like a
Yeah, there it
there
is.
we
Picked it
go.
up a little
I
bit.
had to move up my I had to move up where I had my
Okay.
stuff.
Super
From
loud
the
or
path?
ultra soft? Yeah.
Yeah, but
From the water path.
No, from the ones that would have been marked with like that necrotic key.
Necromantic, yeah, the bad smell
Mm-hmm.
that Eden definitely would have seemed to kind of like round back to and like focus on, like kind of like, hyper focusy just keeps bringing that horrible death smell back up.
See, the thing is that death smell makes me think of Dolus. But I don't know if his dad can do what he can do. Like, I don't
Or
know
if
their
there's other
connection.
things.
Exactly. And then there's the spider web one. The
Acidic smell.
yeah, you know what?
Should we just go towards the water? Or do you think this is some kind of trap?
You know what? I'm gonna try something. Who knows if it works. I'm going to focus on these paths, and I am going to close my eyes and just I'm trying to close my eyes and I'm trying to mute the sounds of everything. I'm trying to remove all senses as best I can because Corvus is actually nervous. Corvus realizes that there's a chance that this is his last life, but he's also worried about his companions because he doesn't care if he dies, but his companions. And I want to see if maybe I can reach out to Bahamut. I'm still in Deepwell. Maybe I'm close. Something can give me an idea of what looms on either path or the best path. Just any insight to what these paths mean for this journey, this goal.
Go ahead and give me. Make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, dice, why you gotta do me dirty? That's a 7.
A 7. All right. I'm looking up one thing real quick to see if I can get away with doing this without stepping on toes of things. All right. As you're sitting there in quiet contemplation, you see at the ends of the darkness before you a small pinprick of light, slowly growing larger and larger as it gets closer and closer to you. It eventually covers your entire vision. In that moment, you have that kind of like flashbang, like eyes glaring. You need to reset your eyes, and you close and open your eyes again. And you're in the passageway that you and your friends are in. However, they're not around. You look at yourself for a moment. Your hands, almost incorporeal in nature. You take a moment and look forward. There's a darkness that lies there. A darkness that very might well consume the three of you. But there's also a door at the end. This one, heavily fortified and locked. A direct route. To the right, you sense two paths. One leading aimlessly until it connects with a larger path, a road of sorts that leads from the lower reaches of the earth northward and beyond. To your far right, levels off a bit before delving deep into the earth. And the left, you already know what you'll find there.
So to confirm, the far right says north, the right leads north. The far right seems deeper, and the left is that door.
The left is what would head toward the the lake, the deep well lake. The kind of center left, like center and left, you can follow any of those, and they would lead through darkness to a heavily fortified doorway. To the right, like front right, would lead you to some sort of trade road, underground trade road. And then directly right, you would imagine brings you into the depths of the Underdark.
Okay. So we don't need to go to, like, in that moment. The lake is not what we actually need because that's not where we need to go. That we would actually fork off that anyway. That door is interesting. The trade route also isn't where we need because it doesn't go deeper, which is where we need to go. So either the door or the Underdark is where Corvus feels makes sense. Which gives me two options, and I'm gonna, if possible, return to my body because I'm gonna convey with the others and determine.
You take a moment, sit back down and into the same posture that you started with. Close your eyes yet again, and the light recedes from your vision until darkness consumes you, and you open your eyes and see the right path. Or, well, you see your friends and all that stuff.
Yeah. We do not need to go to the water. The path we need is connected to, but not of that. Another path leads beyond our goal. However, there's a door, fortified, that may lead one way, and another path that leads deeper into the Underdark, into the depths of unknown. I believe, and pointing towards the direction where the door would have been, which is where the undead smell technically was.
This is where the heavily necrotic vibes that Eden was feeling are. Yes.
There is something that is obscured, fortified behind something. It is where that lingering death settles, but I do not know what's behind it. But I believe that is where our threat may sit, and if not our threat, such force, and it should not be ignored.
So we either go towards the looming death-like threat that's this, and he points in the general direction, or we go into the absolute unknown and just sink ourselves deeper. Do I have that correct?
That is the most optimal options at this junction.
All right. Well,
I believe we face this nature of death and confront, absolve, and if incorrect, we still can dive deeper into the unknown, but whatever's behind that door it should not be permitted to continue.
Oh, it's tickling your morality a little bit there, huh? Something profane against the senses.
That is one way to place it, yes.
No wonder my sister had some kind of fucking interest in you in the beginning. Don't play stupid with me. Let's be like, come on.
Finn blushes at lots of people.
Finn blushes at people who she thinks are interesting, and
Which is
are
like
new.
2 out of 6 people so far.
And you know what? At least one of them is well deserved, and he'll start walking in the direction of the door, and he starts walking backwards as he's doing it. Because honestly, can't help but notice that like you're really kind of leaning in a specific direction. So I'm just gonna make this decision real fucking easy.
This Corvus just kind of like is like still going over the 2 out of 6. One of them deserving, like while following is like doing the math.
Two things will happen as we wrap up our session for tonight. The first, Corvus, roll me an insight check.
And then Perrin make a death saving.
Perrin, make an immediate death saving throw. If you get anything lower than a 10, you're dead.
Insight I
I'll
get.
take it.
All right, that's a 16.
A 16. With a 16, you, as Perrin is kind of like playfully egging you on as he's backing into this corridor, you're reminded of the several of the words that Dolus has said in the few speakings he's had with you. You're reminded that you are of the same mind, but he can't simply just let you walk in. For this to work, he needs to play his part as the second in command.
I do vaguely remember that.
Of the mortal hand. The second thing.
And I... Oh, okay. Well.
So that's the first thing you recall. The second thing is, as you're sitting there in quiet contemplation, as your friend is beginning to back into this hallway, you hear a voice in your head. Brother, several of our forces have found mortal hand safe houses being extricated. I think that's the right word. Somewhat. They're leaving with belongings. Is that the right word? Is that the right word? I don't know if it's the right word.
Okay, yeah. That's...
Yeah. Extricate? Okay. Now I'm hung up on a word that I just randomly used. Anyway, their shit's being taken out. Upon further investigation, we have found several vaults that contain goods and resources that belong to the mortal hand. There's tunnels that lead onward. How do you wish us to proceed?
Like he said the vaults still have stuff in it.
It sounds like they were in the process of moving, right? Like similar to the one that you guys found.
What we saw.
Yeah. But like several throughout the city.
Okay. Jaden's extra paranoid because Jaden has a worst case scenario about what this means for Deepwell, but I don't think Corvus has that level of insight. They seem to have been moving their stuff from all their locations. However, the ones we saw, were they moving stuff out of the safe house or into the safe house, and which would mean into this space we found?
No, they were trying to get their shit out of the safe house. Like they were in the process of getting it out.
Is this communication something that can go back and forth, or am I only got like one response?
You can respond whether or not your sister responds when you respond back.
And they said that things have been extricated and has not specified if things have been extricated.
That's not the right word.
Through the tunnels or out of?
That's not the right word.
But
anyway,
is it like
they're getting shit. There's a fancy word for getting shit out of a place, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm like pretty sure it starts with an E, but I'm not 100%. I can't. Thought that was the word. It's not the right word. I looked it up. But anyway,
the other thing I want to try to discern is if the way she said it, does it sound like she meant that they were being extricated? No, I'm gonna use it because that's all I can think of now.
Are you thinking of extradite?
Yeah, I think so. Is that the right word?
That's legally. That's like
That's
handing
what I'm
over.
Well, that's like handing goods over, basically. That's why I was like, extradition is like a
Yeah, that's probably.
But it's
the
for a
word
person.
Yeah, that's
for people and for like foreign
Yeah,
states.
that's why I was saying.
I don't know why I
wonder
was
if that
thinking
was
there's
the
a
word.
fancy word. I don't know. It might have been the
It
word.
doesn't matter.
Anyway, we're
Moving
gonna
on.
go just moving shit. Just
Yes.
use moving shit from now on.
Moving
shit.
okay, moving shit. The important thing I'm trying to discern is if it was similar to ours, where it was being moved out of the safe house and not deeper into these tunnels.
Going back on your Dolus insight. Before the skull was crushed, Dolus's skull, or his burner, as we're calling it.
Yeah, his burner.
Dolus's burner informed you that there were several safe houses that were emptying their stores. That was his way of helping you to identify where the safe houses were, where to strike, and where to find these tunnels that can lead to where you are now standing. So essentially, all of the Platinum Guard can now
Have
get to where you
these.
can now to get to where you are, or get to portions that can now essentially surround and SWAT team kick the fucking doors in. Like that's where they're at. That D100 roll earlier was how soon after you found yours did the rest of them begin to find theirs.
That's what I was, and cool.
So they are probably about an hour behind you in terms of mobilization, but they're there and they're ready. Is what you're getting from this?
Understanding is
more or less.
This is where we need to be. They'll take some time to get here. Whatever happens here, we're on our own for a little while, but enough support could make it to take care of this because the vaults have all been revealed. So, however, I still don't trust the Mortal Hand or Hawthorne too much too. So I will instruct my family to organize enough forces to get a solid tactical approach through these tunnels, but I want to keep the city protected. In case something goes wrong, I don't need all of the main guards to be in these tunnels in case the Mortal Hand tries a ploy above ground, or if this is a trap down here.
All right. The response you get back: we will divvy up our forces. Some of the other barons are supplying muscle as well. What they supply will join ours, and we'll be with you as soon as we can.
That's it. I don't think Corvus has anything else because Corvus knows where he needs to go through this path and deal with the Mortal Hand, and he's got to trust his siblings that they'll do what they need to do, and that the other barons aren't going to screw him over, because hell hath no fury like a man scorned who has died 1,000 times.
It's
okay, I'll stick Eden on them.
You look forward and begin to step into the hallway with Perrin. Eden, what color are your eyes currently?
They're red as fuck because of that smell.
As you begin to step into these tunnels, there is a lingering dread that can only be from past lived experiences, right? The torment of your sisters. You take a moment, take a heavy breath in, and you feel a gentle kind of brush on your cheek. And you hear in your ears, "This is but a trivial power compared to those of your sisters. No mortal can compare with the gifts I give. Do not be afraid."
And then Eden will smile and start walking forward.
And as you seal your resolve, Perrin, playfully egging you guys all on through this dark necromantic tunnel, Corvus stoically preparing for what's ahead. That's where we'll end tonight's session. Thank you guys for joining us. We're going to quickly go around the horn. to let my wonderful players tell you who they are, where you can find them, and all the other good things. And then we'll get on with rating some peoples and figure out what we're doing. But let's start with our wonderful druid, Taryn.
Druid. So it's a warlock with extra steps. No, hi everybody. My name is Taryn, also known as Valrook across the internet. Generally creative human, TTRPG player and GM, Eldritch Entity and dice maker under the moniker of Umbral Oculus Dice. And I mean, on a fun note, my specialty typically is horror, so I am like here for all of this. I have dice in stock right now. I might even do like a special, I don't know, 50% off sale or something in my dice shop when like the 21st of this month rolls around, because I want to celebrate Curiosity, which is a little cat themed adventure that we're going to be making here on at the Red Hare Inn. And we are playing everyone's playing a Keegan, because Logan made the mistake of letting me name catfolk in Ecriom, and so that's what they are. But yes, I'm really excited. I have an amazingly killer, stunner, absolute wicked cast. You know, one of them, it's like Ronan or whatever. Logan is obviously part of this cast. My sister Megan will be making her debut on stream, and of course, I have Jade Valkyrie and Andrew J. Landy. And I plan on having some really great guests down the road, so come check it out and do cat things. And I promise I'm actually not going to dabble too hard into the horror for that one. So, like, shocker.
News. Wow.
Right?
That's a
Right?
stretch for
Yeah,
you.
it's
Congrats.
actually
Are you okay?
pretty lighthearted. We only met
It's
a
a-
deer
it's a
that was like
restraint.
mostly decayed during our
It
session.
had
Mostly.
crystals in it. It was
Yeah,
pretty.
it was dead and
Oh, it's
literally,
Feywild
okay,
horror.
Hang on. First of all, it screamed, "Help me, please!" like in its eyes.
Oh,
So
okay.
just mildly.
Oh, so it's just.
I mean,
Bambi.
So it's just not okay. It's she wants to make it sound like it's
It's
far
happy
off her
horror.
beaten path,
it's
but
yeah,
okay.
You know, like how you
Yeah,
put
it's
like a sheet
happy
over
tree
something?
friends. This is what
Yeah.
it is.
Oh my god, no!
Yeah.
Please, let's not get there.
It's cotton candy horror.
Yeah. Anyways, my name's Renee Beauregard. I'm one half of Dragon Rock RPG Design. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Dragon Rock RPG and on Instagram at Dragon Rock RPG Designs. We have druids, we have barbarians, we have warlocks. They are all available on DM's Guild. It's free. Go get them. These supplements you will enjoy. You just tell your DM that I balance things better than they do, and that anything that I create for you goes. Just remember that. If you like Street Fighter and you like PvP games, come check out the Initiative Order on May 18th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, where you can find me being the dungeon referee for Ryu, Sagat, Akira, and Poison, taking on each other in a fatal four-way to see who can become the champion of Street Fighter D&D rule style. Yeah, keep your eyes out for that. There should be promotion coming out for that very soon. I'm very excited for that. Yeah, you can find me here in 2 weeks' time. And then eventually in the future, we will all join up back with our friends and back to normal times on Tuesdays. Make sure you check out our other crew who will be here next week, Logan, on Tuesday, or 2 weeks from now, Tuesday.
Potentially Tuesday. If not, we'll just stay tuned. That's a moving situation right now due to some conflicts that are happening scheduling wise.
Okay, fantastic. Keep your eyes out on Logan's on the Red Hare Inn's social media, because we will tell you when the Cinnamon Buns are playing next. And please watch them because they're adorable, they're great, and they've got very important things to do that you should know about.
Watch them while
So
they're
yeah.
still alive and thriving.
Exactly. And then take note, that way eventually we can all be in chat dogging Perrin about his sister.
I want you to look up the word dogging on Urban Dictionary and then come back to
Don't.
I'm old.
For
so I
legal
don't-
reasons, that was a joke. Anyway, My
Moving on.
liege. My liege. Please.
Well, if you didn't know me by now, now you do. But just in case, it's Jaden King. You can find me on all social media at It's Jaden King. You can also find me in my desk writing aggressively for this upcoming project that is on Kickstarter, which has stretch goals again. Daughter of Frankenstein, a 5e adventure that takes you through a wonderful experience. In the icy north of Promethea, a land marked by incredible discoveries of a deranged doctor, a dark tragedy many years ago has created a legacy for his kin with discovering the secrets of humanity. You get to enjoy dark academia, low-tech steampunk, and gaslamp fantasy, where things are wild. Well, there's the occasional serial murder here and there, but don't worry, as long as we have the money, nothing matters. But when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. So please back to Kickstarter because it does end on March 23rd. Getting even the basic stuff because I believe that we do have to probably up the price afterwards, depending on how things work with distribution and so on. So getting that also means you'll get updates, and we have a special thing for those who have backed. You'll get the updates, which does include sample adventures, early access to subclasses, and you'll be on the first list for playtests, and other games will be running using this content. And for those GMs, if you want to run some of this, if you've already backed it, you get early access to run it, and we'll give you extra materials, which does include secret. We're working on overlay, so if you want to stream it, we'll have base materials and assets so you can actually run your own experience through that. So please check out the Kickstarter. We worked really hard on it. We have been writing with a bunch of creators, a lot of collaboration to really make this horror experience that is also inclusive, because horror doesn't need to be offensive. And that's the key thing we wanted to make sure to emulate. I mean, it is written in co-collaboration with Beth the Bard, writer of She's the Ancient, the gender bend Curse of Strahd. That doesn't just change the genders, it changes the narrative. Also, you can find me over on GaryCon for the next following 2 Sundays, on our March to GaryCon for Gax Packs. That's an epic experience. And there's other things. I believe I'll be doing actual plays for Daughter of Frankenstein as well. And Beth the Bard is doing one on Women of D&D/Women of TTRPG March 21st at 5 p.m. We'll should be running a one-shot through it. So there's going to be a lot of actual plays you can see. So please check out Frankenstein5e.com. And also, if you want extra stuff, if you want to talk about things, you can always message me and we can set some things up to do some stuff. We love talking, collaborating, and maybe seeing if you want to be a writer and contribute. We are looking for people who want to contribute to this and future Bard House products, which includes adventures, subclasses, magic items, spells, NPCs. We just want to help people get their writing out there with professional writers, editors, and graphic designers to make your vision possible and make your future brighter. Oh, my bad. Close statement.
Thank you, Your Highness.
Thank you, Innkeeper.
And yeah, I'm your innkeeper, Flogan Hanley. You can find me here, Red Heron, do some stuff. In 2 weeks, on March 18th, for anybody who is in the Atlantic Northeast, I will be at Long Island Gaming Expo, where I'll be running a game of D&D 5e, set in the lands of Ecriom. It may be canon and in the time of this current campaign. So you may be able to see some familiar faces if you come and hang out. In 2 Tuesdays, I will be playing a character in Curiosity. That'll be the 21st of this month, where I'll be playing a character who has a small connection to an NPC that the Barefoot Bandits have met. Which will be...
It's also set during this exact
It's also set in the exact time, around the exact time of our current campaign. So it's a lot of fun. I'm super excited to be able to get a chance to play again and bring that character to life, because that's going to be a whole lot of fun. But other than that, we're going to go raid my good friend Corey, also known as Ink and Ignorance, an amazing miniature painter. Currently, I believe he's playing the Son of the Forest, either the Forest or the Son
Sons
of the Forest.
of the Forest.
Sons of the Forest. So the second version of, or the sequel to The Forest.
That's out already?
Yeah.
Sounds great.
It's spooky.
Let's go.
Let's head on over there, spread the love, buy some rounds, stay safe, and remember, adventure awaits. Bye, friends.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, no, that didn't
Au
work.
revoir.
That didn't work. Hang on. I gotta switch it. I gotta do thing. My button betrayed me.
Oh no.
As long as your butt doesn't betray you.
I don't have wing butts, so that won't.
You vile creature.
All right. We're heading out. Bye,
Hashtag
guys.
wing butt.
Bye. Good night, everybody.
Bye.